everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. So my video today is a little bit different. As you see, I have this beautiful cloth on my desk and I really love the way it looks. I laid that out as a background because today I want to share with you my first design team project for @JunkWithSteph, and I am super excited to share with you this flip through. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to this Urban Angel journal. So Urban Angel is the digital kit that I've used from @JunkWithSteph's Etsy shop to create this journal, and I am in love. So the cover I created in a previous video, so if you're interested in having a look to see how I did that, the video I will try and remember to link in the description below. I was so excited with how it turned out. I love this interactive lace and calico card that I created, and then used pieces of ephemera out of the kit itself. I fussy cut this flower out of one of the journal pages from the kit. I think I ended up printing that two to a page to get the size that I wanted. And this little flower was made by me. I think I did a video on that much earlier. I'll see if I can find that. Just used it's actually a curtain fabric on the outside cover, and when I saw the colors in this kit, I thought of this fabric and it marries beautifully with it. On the side or spine, I have some crocheted lace over the top of a piece of calico, and I've left the back plain just with that beautiful fabric. And I've just created a dangle on a pin using, it's actually a little bit of beading twine, and I have some paper beads that I've made and then just a wooden bead at the bottom. I thought that went beautifully with the colouring. And to close it, I've used some elastic. Now it's actually like a lingerie type elastic, and I've sewn on some lace at the bottom just to fancy it up a little bit. My stitching is a little bit messy and uneven, but kind of goes with my signature, so I'm happy with that. I really love the way it looks. So okay, now before I go into showing you this journal, I would also like to share with you that this journal has been created primarily using @JunkWithSteph's digital papers from her Urban Angel kit, but it has been complemented with digitals from other creators. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on those other artists. Suffice to say that I will mention them now, and then my focus will be on the beautiful papers from @JunkWithSteph. So those other digital artists, and I will link them below, include Roxy Creations by Rachel, Digital Curio, Paper and Lace Moments, Tim Holtz Art Vintages, Tracy Fox Creative / Love Junk Journals, Artie Mays, Shabby Dabby Doodah, and Artsology. So I would like to say a huge thank you to @JunkWithSteph for giving me the creative ability to be able to include in the journal what I wanted to without any limitations, and I am so in love with the way it's turned out. Okay, so opening up my enclosure, you can see the side of the journal there. I'm just going to check the focus to make sure you can see the beautiful laces that are on the edges of the paper. It's so pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to open this up. It's quite an easy enclosure with the elastic, and I'm going to check that I'm in camera. I may even zoom you in just a fraction. Okay. Okay, so I'm hoping that's a pretty good view. Now, inside the journal cover, we have a pocket that I've created. So it's covered with calico, and then a pocket that I've created with some crocheted lace. It's a very high crocheted lace, and it's at the front and the back. I won't show you the back yet. I was about to flip over so that you could see, but that continues all the way across and has created two beautiful pockets at the front and the back of the journal. So I have inside those pockets, I've created, this is a journal tag, and what I did was I used some of the paper scraps that I had to create a collage snippet roll. Now, it's a book page collage snippet roll. I do have a couple of photos that I think I can pop in to show you now. And then I took those book page snippet rolls and I cut them up to create a lot of the ephemera in this journal. A lot of the pockets and things were created using just the papers. So I wanted something a little bit different to create some of the ephemera with. So I've used those book page snippet rolls, and you can see featured here at the back is some of the beautiful paper from JunkWithSteph. And I've used a tag at the front from her kit to create a little tuck spot, and there's just a little journaling card in there and just a label as a focal point, and then a blank label at the top to finish it off with some lace at the bottom, and then journaling space on the back. These two papers here are also from the kit, and I love the lined paper look and the touch of fun that the digital papers bring to the back of the journaling card as opposed to just blank tea stain paper. So that was the first tag, and then the second tag, again using the book page snippet roll. I forgot this had a pocket. That's funny. I was like, what is that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've created a little bookmark here, and yes, it does have a little pocket that I've created using a scrap from the papers. Now, this scrap happened to be sitting there and it was the perfect size to go onto this bookmark, and I was like, why not make a pocket out of it? So I had a little scrap of the book page snippet roll left. I've just added a tiny piece of calico, and that slips in there nicely. A label at the top and one of the tickets from the kit to finish it off. I thought that was a really lovely touch. And then this little dangle here has been made using, it was just a square piece I punched out of the kit papers, and has a beautiful design. It's kind of got a bit of a shimmer to it, and I embossed that, and then on the back I've used a wax. I can't think of what it's called. I'll just see if I can grab it and show you. Okay, so I've just used this metallic wax by Art Alchemy or Alchemy, and it just adds a really beautiful finish to the back of that, and finish that off. And I thought it just on a ball pin looked really beautiful on that bookmark, so popping those back in. Now, when I use digital papers in my journals, I don't like to embellish the papers with anything, because the papers are so beautiful in their own right. So any papers that I feature in my journals, I tend to leave them plain as is, and I like to use those to add my laces to decorate the edge of my journal. So you will see that I've done that throughout. So beautiful papers from JunkWithSteph, and I have 3 of her pages in here that are double-sided, so essentially 6 pages out of the kit, and they're just so beautiful. I have a slow stitch pocket here. This was actually my first attempt at slow stitching, and it was lots of fun. I did it thinking I was going to make it more fancy, but I love the way it looked, so I've stitched with a straight stitch around the sewing machine just around the outside to finish it off. And then I have a journaling card here Again, using some of the beautiful papers from at JunkWithSteph. It came from the book page snippet roll, and again featuring some of her papers at the back. So pretty. Lots of room in this journal to write, to actually journal in, as well as the beautifully decorated pages. So this is actually a flip up. So it flips up this way, and it was created using one of the papers. Again, I think it was actually one of the bookmark pieces of ephemera out of the kit, and I've just cut that out once it was printed and turned that into a flip up. And I've got a little pocket at the front, so you can see the beautiful paper there. A little pocket at the front using some packaging paper that's been glued together with a little cluster that I made to decorate the front. And then I have two tags that I've created. This tag is actually one out of the kit, and this one I've just created out of the same packaging paper that I have made the pocket out of, but it has gesso over the top. And then at the back, if I flip them over like that, you can see I've left the backs fairly plain. Okay, and then at the side I have that beautiful calico ruffle just to finish off the flip up. I thought that was really pretty on there. Again, lots of journaling space. I didn't actually count the number of pages that I have in here. I think I have 4 papers in between each of the printed papers from our JunkWithSteph's kit. So what's that? 3 and 12 is 15. So roughly 15 pages. So that would be 60 pages single-sided. So 60 pages A5 single-sided, roughly. There may be, give or take, extras in here. Okay, so another one of the papers from Steph's digital kit, Urban Angels. Really beautiful. Love that. Love it so much. The colours in this journal are so beautiful. And I must say, what I didn't mention was that when I first saw this kit, I actually saw it online for the first time, and just looking at it gave me such a sense of calm and zen. The colours and the tones in the paper really offered that sense of calmness, and I really love that about the kit. And so I'm hoping if I've managed to portray that throughout the journal, because I really loved that it gave me that feeling when I looked at the papers. So I've tried to stick with the same colour tones so that I can continue that theme throughout the journal. And personally, I do get that sense when I look at this journal, and I love that. So the back of the paper that I've used as the second printed page from the kit. And then I've created a pocket here using one of the cards from the ephemera out of the kit, and just finished it off with a label and some burlap ribbon. And I've also got this little piece of, it's actually stitching left over from an overlocker. So when I've used the overlocker and I've had my threads that I've had to cut off, I've kept those threads, and I felt like they added really beautiful touches throughout this journal. So I've used that there. And then I have a journaling card and a tag. So the tag first is from the kit. I've simply stitched around it, punched the hole out, and added a topper. And the topper is, I think it is the edging of a piece of fabric, perhaps. It's a little bit thicker. It's almost like a stitched rope or stitched cord or something. So it's a little bit thicker, but I thought that was really fun on there as a topper. And I've just layered a couple of pieces of lace and some calico. And then I have another one of the embossed punch outs from the digital papers that, again, I have used the metallic wax on the back to finish it off. I really love them. Love the way they look. So simple, so simple, and it just makes that tag pop. Okay, and then a journaling card, again using one of the book page snippet roll ephemeras that I made, and I finished it off with this beautiful image and one of JunkWithSteph's labels at the front. That comes with the kit, and then on the back is just some different coloured papers. So beautiful. Excuse my arms, sorry about that. So they sit in there like that. Again, more journaling space. And then this was another video that I did when I was creating this journal. Now, there were only 2 videos that I managed to fit in when I was doing this. One was the cover and one was this paper bag insert. So this is like a page insert, but it's been created out of a paper lunch bag, and it has 2 pockets. So one at the top and one at the front. And then I've created tags to go inside. So little pocket here, both with the papers from the kit, really beautiful. And finished off with a cluster and some cheesecloth. It's tea stained cheesecloth. This tag is from the kit again. I've just stitched around the outside, added a couple of pieces of fabric or lace and fabric, and then I stitched down the center of that just to add a little bit of detail and a label. The topper is actually leftover sewing machine thread. I'll show you my embarrassing mess. So I have this jar here, and it has lots of thread inside from either my sewing machine threads or from when I fray fabrics. I keep those threads and I just pop them in the jar, and so I've just taken a half a dozen to 10 of those and threaded them through, obviously making sure they were long enough to suit the tag, and then I've just cut them off at the top and they make a beautiful topper. And this journaling card here, I've used a tea stained manila folder tag, and I've added one of the bookmarks. It was printed 2 to a page. I thought that made a beautiful feature, and I finished that off with one of the labels from the digital kit from at JunkWithSteph, and I've left the back plain. Really, really beautiful. So, trying to remember which way around I had them. And then at the back of the paper bag, I have covered the whole of the back of the paper bag with one of the lined pages. I think there's 3 lined pages in the kit, and I've used that at the back of the paper bag. So effectively, as a page insert, this can be journaled on at the back as well as your normal journaling pages. So I thought that was really fun. And then more journaling pages there. And this is my last printed paper from at JunkWithSteph, and it has this beautiful print on the front, and then finished it off with the lace on the edge, and then I've used that as my backing paper. I just think they're so pretty, and as I said, they speak for themselves. I don't need to do anything to make them any fancier. They just are beautiful as they are. Some journaling spaces that I've left. This is a double paper clip, so it's an over the page paper clip. I'll see if I can take it off. Sorry, I've got a journaling card on the back as well. So it's an over the page journaling paper clip, and I've used the bookmarks from the journaling kit that I have done or printed, 2 to a page, and finished off with a label and a butterfly and some fabric. And then on the other side, another one of the bookmarks printed 2 to a page, and I finished it off with a cluster and some lace. They're just so pretty. And so just popping that back over. And of course I couldn't leave it like that. I had to make a journaling card to go underneath. So this was the first of my journaling cards. Again, the book page snippet roll, featuring the beautiful paper from at JunkWithSteph, and I love that floral image, so I've just left that to show. And I've added a label with some cheesecloth and a cluster at the bottom with a little butterfly, and I've just sewn around the edge. And again, papers from at JunkWithSteph featured on the back with the lines. So, so pretty. So that just sits under there. And then the tag for this one, again, the book page snippet roll. This card is from the kit, and I can't remember, I think it's one of the ones that were printed to a page as well, which was the perfect size for these journal cards. And one of at JunkWithSteph's labels, and you can see her papers featured in the background as well. So pretty, stitched around the outside. Most of my journal cards I think I've stitched around the outside with the darker thread. I just thought that it really brought a depth to the journal cards and a different element, which I love. Now I've got a belly band here using a snippet roll that I created just using some scraps of fabric, and it was made using neutral tones with little dashes of blue, which I thought went beautifully with this kit. And I've stitched that on using the dark thread. Oh, and it's backed with curtain lace, sorry. And then another journal card using the book page snippet roll, and you can see all these pieces of ephemera from the book page snippet roll are all basically the same base, but they all look so different, and I really love the way they've turned out. So I've added, you can see the papers here from at JunkWithSteph featured in the book page snippet roll. I've got a cluster here and one of her labels at the front, and another label to finish off the top, and a piece of lace down the side. When I added this lace, I could see that there was essentially a pocket created, so I've attached this image here to the card, and a journal card or something could be popped in there over the top of that if you wanted to. And then on the back, just some plain tea stain paper. So fun. Again, stitched around the outside, helps if you go from the right direction. And I love that I can pop that in there and have that label showing. Just breathe. Some fun journaling pages. This here, this is the center of my journal, and this is an envelope from the kit, and I have just paper clipped it on because the front was as beautiful as the back, or the back was as beautiful as the front. So when I went to put it in the journal, I was like, I just want to add a paper clip. So I've just taken a normal paper clip, I've added a little piece of scrap fabric, and I've just stitched that on the sewing machine really quickly, and it makes a really fun fancy paper clip. Now this little envelope is so pretty, and all I have done is added a little cluster to the front that I created, and the string around the outside, which is tied into a bow. And then on the back I have a piece of calico with one of the labels printed full size on the calico, and then just a little piece of crocheted lace down the side there. And this string will just slip off so that you can access whatever is inside. Now I've lined this with one of the papers from the kit, and I haven't actually added anything to this particular envelope because I thought that might be a fun spot for the new owner of this journal to have a spot to pop their own pieces of ephemera in. So, and this string will actually slide all the way off, and then you can just pop it back on when you're done. So I love the way that looks on the journal page just as it is. Oops. So that just paper clips back on. And of course, because that paper clips on, it leaves those full pages, that middle page spread, as full pages to journal on if you'd like to. Or you could add photos or mementos or whatever you want to. So more journaling pages. Some lined paper that I've popped in here. Now this piece here is a belly band, but it also flips down. So firstly, I just added some of the paper from at JunkWithSteph over a backing paper, and this is one of the little journal cards, I believe, that I have added as a focal point, and then just popped a label, bits and pieces on it, a bit of fabric and lace and things to fancy it up. And then I created a journal card using the book page snippet roll, again with a cluster at the front, and you can see Steph's paper featured here. So, so pretty. And then again, Steph's paper on the back with some tea stain paper, just sewn around the outside. And this is actually a flip out. So it opens right out and gives you all that paper inside to journal on. So this just sits. It always looks really easy to do it when the camera's off. There we go. And then this pops back into that spot. So fun. Okay, I have a fabric flip here, which is just in neutral tones to tie in with the theme of the papers in the journal, and I really love the neutral tones with journaling space underneath, which is always fun. And then I should also mention I have both air dried and oven dried tea stain paper in here, so there is a variety of papers in that respect. And then the opposite side of one of the double page or double-sided papers from Steph's kit. So this effectively is the backing paper, which now becomes the facing paper with the lace added. And then the opposite side, I just think they're so pretty. So, so pretty. For anybody who watched my video on the cover, you will possibly know that this is the pocket that I created. Initially, I was going to use it as my book plate on the front of my journal. And then I remembered that I wanted to have a go at making this fabric card. So I changed my mind, and I had pretty much already finished this plate. And afterwards I was like, well, that'll make a really fun pocket inside. So it's actually the same flower that I featured on the front of the journal cover, and it was fussy cut out and attached to the front. So, and the backing paper here is from Steph's kit. And then I have just an index card that I've added a little bit of backing paper, and then a piece of the paper from Steph's kit and a piece of lace just to add a little bit of detail. And then on the back I had a little scrap of the kit paper, and I went, oh, that could be fun just down the bottom, just to add a little bit of detail. Gives you something pretty to look at when you're journaling on the back of it. So that is one of the cards in that pocket. And then a tag from the kit with a cluster on the front, and you can see Steph's paper here, and a piece of lace sewn around the edges, and a little bit of sari silk on the top as a topper, and tea stain paper on the back. And you can see I had a little bit of fun with the stitching on that one. Okay, and then some journaling paper. This is the back of my lunch bag or paper bag journaling page, so with the journaling space, which then becomes the front. And I love the fact that it has this flower featured as a focal on that paper. So, so pretty. And then on the opposite side we have the tag at the front and the tag at the back. So I've covered the lunch bag with the pages from, or two of the pages from Steph's kit. And then I finished it off with a cluster as a focal point. And then the first tag, again, tea stained manila folder, little bit of calico, music paper, one of the bookmarks that is printed 2 to a page, and the labels, which are printed 2 to a page, a bit of cheesecloth, sewing around the outside, and that is the back. I've left the back plain, just pretty on its own. And then the second tag is one of the bookmarks from the kit, and again, I didn't do a lot with it. I've added a little piece of lacy fabric, piece of calico with some stitching, a label, and the topper again is the sewing thread scraps that I have, and a bit of fun stitching around the outside of that as well. Just makes for beautiful simple tags, and I love them. So some more journaling pages, and this is a bookmark that I made, again using the neutral tone fabrics and a little hint of the blue. And I just did a little bit of messy stitching with my sewing machine. It was actually a longer piece, and I've cut off what I needed to make this bookmark. The fabrics were just scraps of fabrics that I think I added them to a piece of, I've used the bamboo liner that I use on my covers. So if you've watched the cover being made for this journal, I've used that same fabric on the lining of the cover, and I had some scraps of that. So I took a piece, I glued on with the tiniest drop of fabric glue onto that backing or lining fabric, and I've run it through the sewing machine. I sewed around the outside, and then I did some crazy stitching on the over the fabrics, and then I cut off a piece to make the bookmark. And when I attach that to the actual paper clip, I have taken a scrap of calico and backed it, and I've glued that on with my fabric glue and then stitched around it with the sewing machine. Obviously I can't stitch across the paper clip, but I've stitched as close as I can to the edges and then around, but there is fabric glue under there as well. And then I finish it off with some little snippets of lace and fabric and a beautiful vintage button. I just think that's so pretty, and again it worked so beautifully with these papers. Now this is it's a journal card, I think, that was in the ephemera pieces from this kit, and it was almost the width of the page, and I decided it would make a really fun little booklet. So I've printed it and backed it with the lined paper, and then I have turned it into a little booklet by folding it in half. I've added a little piece of calico down the side, a piece of curtain lace, a little cluster with one of at JunkWithSteph's labels from the kit as a focal point at the front, and then I just have some tea stain paper, and all I did was fold those in half, inked around them, and I've just sewn them into the spine, and I just think that makes a really cute little journaling booklet. So pop that under there. Again, more journaling space here, and the beautiful paper from at JunkWithSteph's Urban Angel kit. I love the little doily on here. I just think that's really, really pretty and works beautifully with this lace. And then the opposite side featuring this gorgeous flower. Oh, it's so fun. Really love that. Okay, some journaling space. I have a pocket here that was made out of one of the cards from the journal kit, and I have some burlap across the top as a feature. I've sewn around the outside with some fun different stitching, and I finished it off with a little strip of fabric, another piece of my overlocker string, and some cheesecloth, tea stain cheesecloth, and then just a little label. And then as the journal card, I have here, all I've done is I've added a little tissue paper flower up here, and then a little scrap of fabric, and stitched that on. So really simple but really beautiful. Okay, journaling space, and I have here on the edge featuring some of the paper from the kit with a little paper clip that I've made, again just using a fun simple little topper to attach this little coin type envelope. Kind of reminds me of a document envelope as opposed to a coin envelope. A coin envelope I envisage opening at the top, but it has that coin envelope shape about it. And again, I didn't want to mess with the paper too much, so I've just added a little strip of the calico down the side just to add a little detail, and you can see that from the front and the back. And then inside I have lined it with a paper bag, paper, and then I just have a little piece of tea stain paper featuring some scraps of paper, the top one being from Steph's kit, and plain at the back for journaling. And then one of the little bookmarks, I've just added another little piece of that same paper that lines the pocket, tiny piece of curtain fabric, and stitched around the outside. Again, keeping it simple but so beautiful. Okay, so they just tuck in there. And then this, it's really cold here, so my hands are not working as well as they should. I have a tea stain doily, and then another page here, and this is the last of my tea stain papers. So I just have a beautiful big bookmark here that was in the kit, and I have added some lace to the top, and I've stitched around the whole thing. And then I created a journal card using, that would have looked so much nicer if I'd have taken it out with my left hand, but I didn't, sorry, I took it out with my right. So another one of the book page snippet rolls, beautiful big featured paper here from at JunkWithSteph, and I've topped it with a little piece of lace down here, sewn around the outside, a cluster that I created, and another one of the little cutouts or punch outs that I have embossed. Now, I don't know if you can see, but it's actually cracked a little bit, and I love that. I love that it's cracked a little bit because that adds an authenticity to the vintage feel of this journal, which is so my style. So I must say, initially when I realized it had cracked, I was like, oh no, and then I was like, oh, I actually really love that. Like, I've wanted to make some things crack or crackle, and I haven't been able to, so I was just like, oh, winner. And just a label at the top, and then over the page, different papers, including one of the papers from the kit from at JunkWithSteph. So fun. And then my last double-sided paper from the kit, just so beautiful with the lace edging. And then the opposite side, I mean, don't those colours just speak calm to you? They really do to me. And then this is the pocket at the back of the journal on the inside cover. And again, I have another tag, a large tag, and similar idea to the one at the front of the journal where I've used, so the tag itself, the large tag, was created using the book page snippet roll, featuring some of the papers from at JunkWithSteph. And I have a bookmark, or sorry, a tag that was printed true to a page that I've used as a little pocket with a little cluster on the front, and it has a little journaling card that's backed with tea stain paper. And I finished that off with a little bit of ribbon at the bottom, or lace, sorry, at the bottom, and a large label, and then I've just sewn around the outside. And again, the back has the different coloured papers, including some of the papers from at JunkWithSteph, and I just think that's really beautiful. And then last but not least, I have another one of the little booklets. So I created two of these. Again, the calico down the side, the curtain lace, a cluster using one of the labels from the kit, and inside lined with the lined paper, and then just some journaling pages to write on. So fun. Okay, and that is my beautiful Urban Angel journal. So again, a huge thank you to at JunkWithSteph, or Steph from at JunkWithSteph, for allowing me to showcase your beautiful papers. I've had so much fun making this journal, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I hope you've all enjoyed this flip through, and I look forward to seeing you all soon, everybody. Happy crafting, and bye for now.